Good evening. Welcome to BC News at 10 to 10, your weekly mental health newspaper roundup. I'm Dr. Beth Colby, psychiatrist from Talk Mental Health. Today I will be discussing articles in some of the newspapers from the past week on suicidal children, toilet rolls, Diana, Princess of Wales, Bill Clinton, Greta Thunberg, William and Kate, and the Tavistock Clinic. The first newspaper item I'm going to talk about is from Wednesday, March the 4th in the Metro, the London Free newspaper. The headline on page 15 is 67 suicidal youngsters called Childline every day. And callers under the age of 11 have risen 87% in the past 3 years. The charity founded by Esther Ranson helped 24,447 children up to the age of 16 in 2018 to 19, which was 25% rise on 2015 to 16. Esther Ranson said, "It is deeply disturbing. We have reached a point where on average 67 children are receiving help for suicidal thoughts." That's every day. On Monday, March the 9th in the Metro, the front page says, "Don't be so shelf-ish. Coronavirus panic buyers ridiculed as they fight for toilet rolls." And there's a picture of a masked shopper in the toilet roll aisle at Asda. There's also a picture of supermarket scuffle, and it says, "It's not Mad Max, shoppers told after brawl over loo roll." Now, panic is a term used in mental health. I know that in these newspapers it's termed as a behaviour by people, but there is a mental health anxiety disorder called panic disorder, and I will be doing a video about that this week in my series on anxiety disorders. On page 5 of the Sunday Times, this last Sunday, March the 8th, Diana, Princess of Wales gets a mention in an article about a new Broadway musical about the late princess. But in the Broadway musical, there's a scene about mental health, bulimia and self-harm. Bill Clinton comes up in a comment in the Evening Standard on March the 9th about anxiety. And the headline on page 11 is "Anxiety doesn't excuse your affair, Bill." And it states that anxiety is cited as a cause for all sorts of problems these days, some justifiable, some potentially less so. Bill Clinton has claimed that it is why he had an affair with the 22-year-old intern Monica Lewinsky. In a new documentary, he said that his liaison with Monica Lewinsky was a way to manage his anxieties. In the Arts and Culture book section in the Evening Standard on Thursday, 5th of March, there's a picture of Greta Thunberg and her family. Her family's book entitled "Our House is on Fire, Scenes of a Family and a Planet in Crisis" has been chosen as Evening Standard's Book of the Week. In the article, it said that when Greta was 11, she began disappearing into some kind of darkness. She stopped playing the piano, she stopped laughing. She stopped talking and she stopped eating. Bullied at school, she was eventually diagnosed with high-functioning Asperger's. Meanwhile, Beata also began to exhibit alarming symptoms, unable to tolerate any sound other than the pop group Little Mix. In the next month, I will be doing a video on autistic spectrum disorder in girls. On page 3 of the Evening Standard on Wednesday the 4th of March, in an article about William and Kate's tour of Ireland, it said that they visited the mental health youth charity called Jigsaw, which is the National Centre for Youth Mental Health in Ireland. On the BBC News website, it stated that the Jigsaw charity was particularly close to Prince William's heart following his struggles after the death of his mother, Diana. In the Sunday Times on March the 8th, in the letters to the editor section, it says that the Tavistock Clinic must come clean. The Tavistock Clinic is a mental health clinic that specialises in talking therapies for adults and children and families. Professor Michael Biggs of Oxford University states as follows: "Salute Keira Bell's courage in leading the legal challenge against the Tavistock and Portman NHS Foundation Trust, the UK's only centre for treating children suffering from gender dysphoria. The Tavistock's Gender Identity Clinic uses the drug triptorelin to stop puberty in children as young as 11. Triptorelin is not licensed for treatment of this condition. My research has uncovered disturbing data from the Tavistock's 2011 experiment with this drug. After 1 year, children who had the treatment had more thoughts of self-harm, and the girls experienced worse dysphoria. I hope the coming judicial review will force the Tavistock's Gender Identity Clinic to release comprehensive data on the well-being of all the children, now numbering nearly 300, subjected to this drug regime." Toby Young, the General Secretary of the Free Speech Union, said this: "The High Court's decision to permit this case to go ahead is welcome. Allowing children to make life-changing decisions and undergo irreversible medical treatment, such as that undertaken by Keira Bell at the age of 16, has happened without proper debate or public scrutiny. I hope this issue can now be discussed in the open and that we will hear from medical experts on all sides, including those who, in the past, have been afraid to say what they really think. One of the reasons protecting free speech is so important is that properly informed public debate can take place about vital issues such as this." Thank you for listening. I hope this has been useful and informative. Please like, subscribe and leave comments. Good night.